Welcome to today's episode. Did you know to be successful in the future, it's all about user experience? But don't just take my word. You can read any news about any vertical and you will read how user experience is literally at the center of how you differentiate from your competition. And to be successful in providing great user experience, you need to be agile and you need to be super fast to market. Because your competition is not sleeping, so you want to beat them to the finish line. So today I want to talk to you about fictional companies that handle this problem while operating globally. And why is that so important? Now there is a lot of turmoil, politically spoken, around the globe. You have Brexit possibly with a deal or no deal. You have countries that are overhauling their privacy laws and decide if data of their citizens needs to stay within the physical border of a country, and so on. So how can you be agile and fast to market while being consistently compliant and ready for whatever comes at you? So in today's example, we're going to look at Northwind Cloud, which is an accounting company, and their biggest revenue maker is their payroll services. So they render payroll for thousands of customers, if you will. And the reason why they're so successful is because they provide all the tools to their customers. So in this particular case, we have Northwind Cloud, a US-based accounting firm, and their customer Fabrikam. Now Fabrikam is in manufacturing and they have offices around the world, and we look specifically today at their operations here in the United States as well as in the UK and future merchant acquisition that they will complete. But let's take a look at the web application. So if I'm an employee at Fabrikam, I come here to this website and you can see in the URL how it says US, and I can log in, and here I can enter all my time and so on, and I have all the reports, how much I worked and I didn't work, how many vacation days, etc. I have left. Now let's assume I'm a person, an employee of Fabrikam in the UK. So if I'm in the UK, I have a different website. You see here it's the UK in the URL where I can also log in. And as you can see, it looks exactly the same. For the sake of this argument, let's assume that the UK wants that data of UK citizens is stored within the United Kingdom. Now, because Northwind Cloud trusts on Azure, it was super easy for them to provide payroll services to Fabrikam while staying compliant. They have a tenant in the United States where all employees of Fabrikam using that tenant, and they have their solution deployed in the UK so that they can too take advantage of the great tools that they offer. Now, if you want to look here at the backend, you see in our particular case, it's Janina Bueno from Northwind Cloud. Here is her overview, her dashboard of the different apps. You see the database in the US, in the UK, and the applications that are deployed in each of the regions. Now, Fabrikam decides to buy this company in Austria. And Austria, just so happens for the sake of this example, decides that all data of citizens of Austria needs to stay in Austria. But wait, Azure does have 54 regions, but there isn't a single region in Austria. So what should they do? Now the account team of Northwind Cloud, as the payroll vendor, has to decide what they should tell Fabrikam. Should they tell Fabrikam, oh, we're really sorry, we can't help you with payroll or with time entry in Austria. Why don't you use a different accounting firm for Austria? Or should they say, let's develop a different app, host it in Austria on, let's say, a hoster, and then we maintain two different codes, but that's kind of like annoying specifically over time because you make new features here, but then you don't update this for the next version of Android or iOS and it doesn't work there, and so it gets very complicated. So what can you do? Now the simple answer is Azure Stack. You can easily buy an Azure Stack. In that case, Northwind Cloud buys an Azure Stack, puts it in a hoster data center, and basically can deploy the same code just easily on the Azure Stack. So when we go here to our release pipeline and we just bought the Azure Stack and put it in Austria, all I need to do is to create a new release. Then I have to click here, create. Now let's dive into build 23. You see it's working. We're gonna refresh and boom, and now it's deployed in the US, UK and on the Azure Stack. Now here you can see it's the Microsoft Azure Stack, and here we have now the Fabrikam time card app that just got deployed, where we have a database as well as the web application tier. So if I go to this application, you now see here AT for Austria. We're on the local Azure Stack, and Janina can log in here as well, and it looks exactly the same as in the UK and in the US. So if you're a global operating customer who wants to be successful, wants to compete and differentiate through user experience, but you're afraid on which technology to bet on, know this. With Microsoft Azure, you have more reach than any other cloud providers. Plus, thanks to Azure Stack, you always have the possibilities to take the cloud in your data center, run these applications that you wrote for Azure just in there while staying compliant. Know that if you build the success in Azure, you are ready to compete with anyone. Thank you for watching today's episode, and I hope you enjoyed it.